Welcome back to Wolf Guitars and Gear. Today we're going to be talking about the Strymon Big Sky. But before we get going on that, make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell so that you get all future episodes. Alright, so last week we talked a little bit about the Boss RV500, and in the background I kind of gave you some of the sounds from that unit. Today we're going to be talking, like I said, about the Strymon Big Sky. This is probably my favorite reverb unit that I've ever had the opportunity to play. Very similar to the Boss, though. We do have a lot of different modes here to use. We have spring, plate, hall, room, reflections, nonlinear, magneto, shimmer, coral, cloud, bloom, and swell. Now a lot of those are, again, your standard modes that everyone is familiar with, you know, the spring and the hall, rooms, all those types of things. But where this thing really shines is in creating atmospheric textures that you can use in a myriad of different ways. And so I think that particularly if you're looking for a really modern and unique artistic sound, that the Big Sky is going to feel what you need a lot better than the RV500, which kind of does your basic reverbs pretty well. And you can certainly drench your sound in a lot of reverbs. You can stack those reverbs to get, you know, certainly a huge spacious sound, but it's not the same as what there is to offer with the Big Sky, where it has a lot of other type of sounds that you can get that just kind of create this whole pad and atmospheric sound that you just don't get out of the RV500 without a lot of work. So without further ado, I'm going to start playing some different patches that I have built into my Big Sky, and maybe just say a couple words or two about them as they go. So here's my clean tone. It is my Mad Professor Sweet Honey Overdrive, and then I'm just using that in this Big Sky, nothing else, just straight to the amp. Here's a basic spring mode. This is the magneto mode. I've got it set up to be somewhat similar to the Space Echo mode that's found on the RV500. So it's kind of a delay with reverb type setting. I think it's very interesting and I like it. This is a mode that's not found on the RV500. It's the swell mode. It's really cool because you can just lightly pick a note and it'll just swell in, kind of like using a volume pedal or the volume knob on your guitar if you just roll it in after you've already hit the note, where it kind of removes a lot of the attack. It's a really cool effect. I'm a really big fan of Matthew's effects, in particular his reverb pedals, the Astronomer and the Cosmonaut. So this is kind of my take on his shimmer as best I could replicate it with the Big Sky. And the next one is I use the cloud mode to kind of replicate what he did with the Cosmonaut as best as I could. This is the Big Sky's nonlinear mode, It's a really cool mode. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. And even though the RV500 does have a non-linear mode, there is no comparison between the two. The Big Sky wins that one hands down every time. It's just so much more subtle, so much more versatile, and just way more user-friendly. This mode is called Reflections. It's just like a very small room type sound. I have it set up almost a slack backy type thing. Named it Stray Cats because it really works with that stray cat strut type thing, but hopefully you get the idea. This is another mode that the RV500 does not have. It's the bloom mode. It kind of just, it's almost like when you hit a note with a compressor and it squishes down the front end, but then it kind of blooms back in afterward. It's kind of more or less the effect there. So this mode is something I set up. It's a shimmer with an octave down and some other strange intervals in there just to kind of add some depth to it. It's not super usable, but it is really interesting for some atmosphere type effects. This one here, again, just continues to like just pitch shift off into nowhere. It was on there when I got it. Another magneto mode that I think is pretty interesting. So I think you kind of get the idea that this thing can do just a lot of things. This is one of my favorite ones. It's a tight studio room sound. Just really nice, simple reverb, easy to use. So this one here is my go-to setting. It's just a really large plate. Works well with a lot of different things. Usually I'll bounce between that last one, the studio setting, and this one just for like a mild reverb. This one's a little bit more extreme, but I like it a lot. It's a cloud setting that I created on here. It's one of the most atmospheric settings that there is. It's probably the iconic setting. This is the reason why most people buy a Big Sky, is for the cloud setting. So just sit back and enjoy. Thanks for tuning in to Wolf Guitars and Gear. Make sure you tune back in next week for another episode. We're going to have more great content coming your way. Hope you have a wonderful week.